Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And on tonight's 243rd episode of the Brutal Game, it's about Tottenham Hotspur trouncing Man United at Old Trafford 3-0 with an opening goal inside of 3 minutes, a Bruno red card just before the half, and 2 second-half goals to heap showers of Manchester rain and criticism onto Erik ten Hag and his future with the club. Blake's prediction of first fired coach still hangs in the balance.
Looking pretty good.
And, of course, we'll cover the rest of Premier League action from match week 6 in our 2-minute drill. Then we'll blow the halftime whistle as the 4-course meal of the meats and the cold palmer of the goulash. Ron shares with us all the news that's fit to drink and yet another edition of Ron's Beer News. And for the second half of the pod, we'll stay up in Europe with a little La Liga's roundup. And we're going to talk the wild match that was the Madrid derby, which included feces being thrown, the match being suspended for a bit, and, of course, a red card to top it all off. Not a brown card. And then we'll check in on the Bundesliga and Serie A. But first, our beer. I'm going to stay on trend with my previous episode, and though this is one I've had on there, they shake it up just a little. It's the fresh batch every year. It tastes a little different. And I've gone on over to a pod favorite, and that is Southern Tier for, of course, their King Imperial Pumpkin Ale.
The best Halloween beer.
It is, man. I've had some other good pumpkin beers, but right now this still holds like the top. All Hallows Eve is a time of year when spirits can make contact with the physical world and when magic is most potent. Some think we harness magic to brew our powerful pumpkin ale. Not so. But it is with great respect to the magic of the trade that our brewers craft this fine beer. Savor the bewitching taste, share the magic, and declare your loyalty to the Pumpkin. Click here to learn more about the history of the lore of the Pumpkin. So, look, they got a whole storyline you can follow up on.
Yeah.
So, ABV is 8.6%. 2-row pale Munich malt. I love how much info Southern Tier puts on their stuff. Fermentation, ale yeast, 2 varieties of hops, 2 varieties of malts, pumpkin and spices. Aroma, I feel like that's important. Cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, allspice, vanilla, buttery crust. It's pumpkin pie in a glass.
Awesome.
Yeah. And gents, I believe that throws it over to you.
All right, man. We actually have some beers that were gifted to us by one Caitlin FX Tech on the X nowadays, I guess as it is called.
Yeah.
But her timing couldn't have been good because she was finally able to get me these beers as we were kind of tailgating at the Pride game this past Saturday. But they are from Appalachian Mountain Brewery in Boone, North Carolina. And listen, if anybody's listening up there, we wish you the best. We have friends of the pod. We have family up there, and we certainly hope everybody's safe and sound. You know, it's been just an absolutely horrid past week and days, and homes destroyed, businesses destroyed, a lot of livelihood destroyed. So our hearts and minds and thoughts are with everybody up there, because we know that storm is absolutely just devastating.
And it's hit obviously more than just Asheville, but most people in that area. There's a lot of places, if you're familiar with the area, Silva and Newland and all sorts of places. But on the beer side, obviously Asheville, I mean, it's like Colorado 2.0 as far as breweries are concerned. There's so many breweries out there.
Oh yeah, and this particular brewery is out of Boone. So if you're familiar with Boone, it's where Appalachian State play. And if you saw any images from the stadium, they're completely underwater and that sort of thing. I was in Boone a few years back. Didn't get a chance to get to this brewery, but just an awesome town, and we hope everybody is doing well there. And you can actually head over to amb.beer. To go to the brewery site, but on their Instagram, they had posted something, I think just a day ago, that said our thoughts go out to the community and to everyone who has been affected by the storm. All of our staff members have checked in and are safe. We saw a couple feet of flooding in the Boone facility, but the brewery fared okay, and we're doing cleanup. Our Mills River location is in good condition. We hope to be able to open up as soon as possible for obvious reasons. Our cider on the mountain festival is postponed until further notice. We truly hope everyone stays safe and takes care of one another through these tough times. And for the beer that we're going to have, we're going to have two from them, but the first one we're going to have is one from them that is Panic Water. It is a hoppy Pilsner.
Oh, I've heard of this, but not had it yet. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's 5.4 ABV. It's an American Pilsner dry hopped with Pecco and Azacca hops. And we have a nice cold can here that Ron and I are going to split. And then a little bit later on the pod, we'll have another beer from them. Again, it's Appalachian Brewery. And you can head to AMB. What did I say? Give me a second. Oh, yeah, amb.beer to check out their slick site there. And we hope everybody up there in the Carolinas, Georgia, and everybody that was affected by the storm is safe. And at some point, you can crack a beer with for friends and family and get to smiling and enjoying the good times again.
Amen to that. That thing literally sat in between where I used to live in Tennessee and where my family currently lives in Western Carolina. So it's like Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia. I mean,
it affected everything.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Florida, where I'm from, 5 to 10 minutes from Clearwater Beach, just restaurants and Clearwater Beach just flooding. Just Palm Pavilion for Frenchies. The Hogan's hangout kind of bar and grill he has down there flooded, just devastation all along there. So this storm has affected just a majority of the South, just terrible.
If you're not in the states affected by this, or even if you are and you want to help out, here's a couple of different ways you can donate. In North Carolina, you can go to the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund, and you can look that up, Google it, and jump on there. There's plenty of ways to donate for that. Donations go to the different nonprofits that are working to help victims with food and water, cleaning supplies, stuff for babies, stuff for dogs. Pick what you want and you can donate to it. That's the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund. The one for Florida is the Florida Disaster Fund. You can look that one up. Georgia has a bunch of different ones, but you can send to the American Red Cross, or you can go to the Hurricane Helene Send Relief website. So you can just look that one up and it'll it's called Send Relief. And when you go there, you'll be able to pick from what state you want to go to, all that kind of stuff. So Salvation Army is always a good one. American Red Cross is always a good one. So if you want to help out, those are the fastest ways of doing so.
Well, on that note, should we raise a glass to, I was going to say the Carolinas, but Carolinas, Florida, Tennessee, parts of Ohio? That was nuts. Let's not do another one of those this year.
Yeah, we have 2 allegedly in the Gulf, right, or in the Atlantic right now.
Yeah, there's one in the Atlantic and one in the Gulf, so we'll see. All right, let me see your glass there.
Gosh, this just smells like a pumpkin pie as soon as you open it. Ron, did we ever brew a pumpkin beer?
No.
See how that is for you. I might give you a little bit more. We'll see. Hold on.
No, I don't remember doing a pumpkin one. I think one of our favorite beers that was kind of a beer we didn't expect to be as good. Remember we did a chocolate Toblerone stout?
Oh yeah, with like the toffee and yeah. Chocolate.
Didn't we have that on the pod from like 10 years later?
Yes, because we
did.
We found one.
I remember you guys talking about it.
It was a strong ale.
Oh, it was. It was a Belgian.
Was it strong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Belgian
But you guys had like talked about it, and it was
you
found it in the back of your beer fridge or something.
The reason you have that in your head is I found it packing to move and went, oh no, I don't know what this is.
That's what it was.
And so
it told us.
It could have been that one, and we couldn't we didn't know what it was going to be until we opened it. Oh, I forgot about that.
So you ended up giving me 2 or 3 of the 750 ml bottles of that. And so we cracked one to figure out what it was. It was the Belgian Strong. Then, a year later, we cracked the other one. And now we have 3 more years till we can crack the last one to see how it aged.
I love it. I love it. That just makes me happy.
All right, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Cilantro.
Oh, that's tasty.
Who is it? Is that?
Oh, that really beats some of real American beer.
I was going to say, you guys have greatly improved since the last podcast.
I tell you what, and I say it more often now, but it's always good from breweries when the title of the beer, when it says it's a hoppy pilsner, taste exactly what that says. And what that means, like, it's I don't know if it's rare or if it's like, okay, yeah, that kind of might taste like that. That kind of might. This is like, oh no, boom, that is a hoppy pilsner that drinks like water, but like, it's panic water because there's a lot going on because it's not your typical just excuse me pilsner there. So it fantastic.
So
Quite.
So what you're telling me is you like a beer that tastes and says exactly what it is on the label. And by that transitive property, the best beer we've ever had then would be the Cookie Puss Milkshake IPA.
Not where my mind was going.
Hilarious.
Because it definitely tasted exactly like what it said.
And it also came up exactly.
Oh.
I don't. Do we have it on anybody's board?
I think I have it on ours.
Oh wait, I got you. Here it is.
I got it too.
Ready?
Holy Cookie Puss.
And my favorite one.
Oh yeah. Oh, here we go.
Was trying to talk, and then
Did you just burp up good beer mixed with Cookie Puss beer?
I can listen to that one all the time. It's because the burps from that beer just came out of nowhere.
And I'm not like, I don't usually burp. Like, I'm not a normal, like, you drink pop or anything like that soda. I don't usually burp at all. But man, when we were doing that night, that got me. And hearing that in our ears, and I'm sure if you're listening to it in your car,
you're welcome.
At home, a Bluetooth speaker or something, that thing comes just bubbly, juicy right in your ears.
You can feel the liquid in that burp.
The only other thing that got me that way was Ron's Baiju from China when we were.
Oh, that was a rough night
Do
too.
you, do you mean? And a couple of times I was able to
look like you were porn.
Well, sometimes the shot glasses,
Oh my god. That might have rivaled the Cookie Puss one. Oh my god. That startled me. I was intrigued with Ron's story just looking at him.
That
was a Blake burp right there.
Yeah,
that was hearty.
And it caught me. The thing is, like, it just like you, the Cookie Puss. It was like mid talk, completely caught off guard by the demon that had
Just
been
come out of nowhere.
created. God, I can listen to those two at any time, and it instantly makes me feel better. I hope anyone listening feels the same way.
Oh, man.
All right, gentlemen. Speaking of belching stuff up,
Yeah, no kidding.
here we go to our first. Well, the big conversation of the week, big match of the week. Man United 0, Tottenham 3. Two clubs, I would say, really looking to put a foot down and prove themselves. It only took 3 minutes for Tottenham to heap all sorts of lingering criticism and questions on porous Manchester United side, setting up Erik ten Hag via blistering run by center back Mickey van de Ven, who, as easy as you like, played a ball across goal for Brennan Johnson tap-in. It wasn't bad enough to be down early and dominated most of the first half by the Spurs. Captain Bruno Fernandes gets sent off for a challenge, which was just appealed.
It was.
For a challenge he had against James Madison. Albeit a questionable red card, but no VAR overturn, and it only got worse for the Reds as another quick goal, this time just after half, about 2 minutes in, by Kulusevski. Say it. How do you get it? Kulusevski. There we go. Only made matters worse for Erik ten Hag and United, but it was ultimately the third goal by Dominic Solanke, which put the final nail in the rainy match coffin for Man United. Could this match be the start of the ball rolling down the sack race hill for Ten Hag? Ron, do you think there's a lot of delusion in that question, in the sense that this question is late to be asking this question?
This question has been lingering through much of the football world for a bit. And I think to some degree, they were kind of waiting for this kind of significant test. And now that it has left, Manchester United has been left wanting, the questions are severely ratcheted up. But I don't know. One, I think there's some interesting politics at play, right? The ownership came out, the new ownership of football operations from LeaueA's came out at the beginning of the season and said, look, we did an exhaustive search and we can't find anybody better than Ten Hag that we want.
Which is something we've said before in the past with clubs. Like, well, who are you going to get right now?
Right.
Like, yeah. And
which in some ways makes him a bit of a lame duck, right?
That is not a glowing endorsement. Yeah.
No. But now, not much has changed between the beginning of the season when you did your, quote, exhaustive search, and let's take it all the way to the winter transfer window. Not that much has changed. So you double down on Ten Hag as a leadership group, and then Erik ten Hag is so much a part of the recruitment that you built this team for Ten Hag for the most part. So let's say you do can him. So you're going to bring somebody else in who is essentially stuck with Erik ten Hag's team. And so you're going to repeat the thing Chelsea did, which is essentially waste a whole bunch of time on a manager who is now not, like, bringing in a new manager.
But United's been doing that well before. Chelsea's done it. It's done it since Sir Alex left.
Well, yes, but I don't think they did it the same way as Chelsea. I honestly feel like
no, they only spent about half as much as
that's not true. That's not true. You spent almost as much as we did.
Oh no!
Yes, look it up. Look it up.
It was a lot.
You're
over a longer period of time, not over the span of 2 years.
Very close.
Not over the span of 2 years, over a longer.
Yeah.
So
4 years. It was 4 years for Man United. It was 3 months for Chelsea to hit that 1.3 billion mark.
Kind of what it was like.
So I don't think Chelsea did it out of panic and hurry, and we don't know what else to do because we're a bunch of moron owners. But I don't think Manchester United was doing that. I genuinely think that for the most part, with the exception of interim managers, they honestly wanted those people to succeed, whether it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or Mourinho or whomever that they had, right? So I don't think they were doing it the way Chelsea did it. So that's why I say Chelsea did it. They had 3 managers in one season. So I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to sack Ten Hag, because who are you going to get? And those people, that manager is just going to be as lame as Pochettino was on a potential 2-year deal. You get 6 months to figure it out. If you don't make Champions League, you're out. So I don't know. I think the question is definitely up in the air. Something certainly has to change. And I don't put it all on the manager, right? Because to some degree, the players got to go out and do their job. I mean, how many times in this match did Delot just give up on coverage? Right? A lot of the players are disheartened. They start going in, they start strong, and then they just kind of give up. So it's not all the manager.
No, it's never not all the manager, but a second 3-0 defeat at home in a row to top 6 clubs. The manager, it lays at the manager's feet a large part. How you set up your teams, why there's so many holes, if you looked at that game and you rewatch, especially in that first half, there's not a Man United player within like 30 yards of each other. Too open, too porous.
Yeah.
Because of how they run. That one steal and run by Vandermeer went from one half to the next.
Right.
Because he was able to run past all of those, because everybody is so spread out. The fullbacks are too high up the field. The midfield's trying to watch somebody in the midfield, so they can't run all the way out there. The center back has to come all the way. So it comes down a lot to the tactics, implemented. And it who knows? These tactics may work when you're the one that scores first. They weren't even close to scoring first in this game. Yeah. Same with Liverpool a few weeks back. They scored the first goal, and both of which were in that earlier part of the game. So that stubbornness of sticking with it and continuing to kind of go with that has to be at the foot of the manager. And I say why the ball is rolling, because I think there's been a lot of lows over the past year. Especially last season with Ten Hag when he first got into the clubs. Some of those, there's been a lot of lows, but you win the FA Cup, you beat the juggernaut that is Man City, and you're going to sack him. But again, who are you going to get in? Who's available? Who's out there? Who are going to get in? And is it okay? The new ownership. So it's not like it's the new owners deciding, hey, I want to go with somebody different, because they were either sold by what Ten Hag said, or this is the best way we're going to go about it to plan for years to come. And that's a decision that you do have to stick with, I think. But for a second 3-0 defeat at home, to already have a -3 goal difference, to not really score a whole lot of goals in the first half of the game, you now have Porto in the Champions League coming up on Thursday, I believe. And then you follow that up with Aston Villa on Sunday at Villa before the international break. These are 2 really big games for Ten Hag. Say you get beat by Porto. Sorry, and that's away. That's actually at Porto. You get beat by Porto. Now, you drew your first Europa League match against FC 20 at home, 1-1. So say you get beat 3-0 there, and then you could go away to Villa, and they beat us 5-1. That pressure is going to be pretty hard on Ten Hag, and I don't think it's going to be a far stretch to go. It's not necessarily who we're going to bring in to replace him. It's they've already brought somebody in that could implement a style with those players, and that's Ruud Van Nistelrooy, who they brought in the offseason, who was over in the Netherlands, a manager of a team. You bring him in because he's trying to build this Dutch way of playing and all of that, but it's also another manager that can step into the helm. Oh, and by the way, is a club legend at Man United. So you go ahead, take you sack Ten Hag, which would be pie on the face. But you want pie on your face now, or you want pie on your face when you're in 10th place and maybe a Caribou Cup final come March. So do you cut your losses now after you came out and you stood by him for the summer and go, hey, let's put the interim tag on Van Nistelrooy? That's probably the most likely way of playing out. I don't see necessarily a Graham Potter, a Southgate, any of those names that are kind of being tossed. Even an Ole coming back. I know he had some
that was brilliant. His remarks were hilarious with that.
Wait,
I
what did he
rule it out? I don't talk about other jobs,
right?
But I wouldn't rule it out. I'm very interested.
That
was his quote.
Correct.
I would love to have
if the family calls me, right? If the Glazer family calls me, yeah.
I would love to have. I'd love to have Gollum, Andy Serkis back.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
listen, I would not mind if he came back, but I think Ruud Van Nistelrooy is more likely to get that interim tack to try to get United through the season, because it's not a far stretch of the players that were brought in by Ten Hag to try to implement that Ajax style that he was playing. That did so well a few seasons back, to work with some of these young. You have two very, very young number 9s. You didn't go for Kane, you didn't go for Tony, you didn't go for some of these big names. No, you went for youth. You have to understand that too, that it's going to take time for them to build it. But and maybe it is building towards what I think Barada came out and said, we're looking to win the Premier League by 2028. So if you're building towards
your
that
150th year. 50th.
Yeah. So if you're building towards that, okay, there's going to be some rough times, because so much of the game now is you have to win now.
But that was also a controversial leak, from the standpoint of some fans are like excited about trying to do that, which I think is a kind of a pie in the sky thing to say. But then also a bunch of fans are like, okay, so we're not really competing for the next couple of years.
No, right.
So it's interesting how it came out, and in the manner in which it came out.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword there, in a way, and I don't know. It's frustrating when it comes. There's new ownership there. There's some exciting young players. The disheartening thing is, and as we get back to the game, that was probably United's strongest lineup that they put out there. With the names, we can't have that excuse of we are injury ridden and that sort of thing. That limped us through a lot of last season. And in fairness, there was a lot of injuries last season.
Yes,
that absolutely played into that. But this was the starting lineup. This is probably the best. And second game in a row, 3-0. But it's part of it is both Slot and Ange here. They out tacticized them. They set their sides up much better to win each of those games.
I think
they looked the dominant side at Old Trafford.
I think the term you're looking for is strategery.
Oh, I love that word.
Yeah.
George W, baby.
It would also be a very expensive idea to sack Ten Hag.
Yeah.
Because you're still on, kind of like Chelsea did when they sacked Poch, you're still on the hook for all that money.
Yep. Yeah. And I think you have to stick with them. Listen, it would have to be 2 devastating games coming up here, as I just said. And maybe that you have 2 weeks to kind of linger on that and think about that, and go from there. So these are 2 very, very, important games against not very easy.
I think he makes it to winter.
Can my guess was like Christmas, but man, I like Ferris said, I think this ball is I think it's more halfway down the mountain, and a couple of bad in a row here, and it might be sooner than later by far.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen. This is always what happens. He's going to win the Champions League game, and he's going to draw to. It'll be a comeback draw to Villa, and he's safe for another couple weeks. Yeah, and they'll do terribly, because also it should be known, or it should be stated, that Manchester United aren't terrible all the time. They're inconsistent.
That's a lot of the angst and problem that us supporters have with it, is that inconsistency, right? We can, it's one, you're going to lose in the game. It's going to happen. But a 2-1 loss, when you played well, you did this, you had your chances, it was a goal there at the end or something. That's one way to lose.
Right.
But 2 back-to-back at home against top 6 clubs.
Steamrollings. Yeah.
One against your biggest rival in the league, and another, as Sir Alex famously said, it's just Tottenham.
Right.
To get steamrolled 3-0. And yes, the red card in this game changed, but I tell you what, even if Bruno stayed on the pitch, I'm not so sure that the result would have changed all that much.
I was going to say
it was all Tottenham in the first half, dramatically so.
That didn't feel like a brutal loss. To bring it back to the match a little bit, I'm going to sound so Arsenal-y right now, and I apologize, Spurs fans. But we're sitting here talking about how bad how bad Man United was in this match and not how good Spurs were. But that's also kind of the conversation with the pundits. No one had stepped away going, man, Spurs look good in that match. Man United just looked woeful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's they would have, if this, and to be fair, was it Timo Werner himself should have had a hat trick in the first half.
Well, he's cursed in the Premier League.
But if this was a City, a Arsenal, a Chelsea, how they're currently playing, that would have been a 6-0 game.
All scored by Cole Palmer.
Easily.
Yeah.
And even, exactly. And the first goal was a thing of beauty. That run in the slot across. The second goal, a thing of beauty, a good touch, a bit of a fortunate kind of carom, and Kulusevski got it, good on the ball. Third goal off a corner, ball's bouncing around a little bit. Okay, so there wasn't a very strong outplayed for those last two goals. United did push, and in the, large parts of the second half they were playing in their offensive zone, and they did have some. So the fight was still there. Did the red card change the game? Yes, the red card always changes the game. Somebody being sent off always changes the game, and the FA came out today, and that's been overturned, and there's no 3-match ban. I think that's the correct call. You can listen to the comments of Bruno after the game. I thought it was fair. He said it was a foul, but never a red. And he was told that by the person he put the challenge on, James Madison. You can see him as they walk off the pitch, has his arm around him, and then how they kind of cup their mouths like this, and we don't want the camera to see what we're saying. So hey Bruno, listen, I think it was a foul, but I don't think it was a red card, mate. So sorry you have to go, but listen, I'll have a cup of tea with you after the match. It's so. But regardless, I don't think United were going to win that game. It was Tottenham. They earned that win. They out strategeried.
There you go.
United, and that was the main talking point from the match.
One last thing about this before we move on. Under the column of stats that don't sound true but are.
Oh, XG? We're bringing XG into this?
No.
Oh, damn it.
I'm tired of talking about XG. It's just a waste of breath. This is the first win on a top 10 side for Tottenham since March.
Damn. That does sound not real.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. First win for Tottenham.
Hey, wait, is United even in the top 10?
No, 13.
Oh, there we go. So technically not true.
only the time. Wow.
That's Spursy of them. They want to claim as a top 10 win. Yeah, no.
Well, at the time it was. It's just that I think Brighton and Brentford all did better. Good grief. Hanging out with West Ham right now. Oof.
Yep. Still got my 7 shares of stock, though, so always something to lean your hat on.
There you go.
With any luck, you'll get cheaper, and you can start. You can invest some more, Ferris. Get those votes going bigger.
And I do. So something that's kind of cool. I do get to vote on my ideas for the stadium, the new stadium that they're talking about building in areas. So I have to vote before I think the end of the month or October 15th, so something along those lines. So
press box
for put on the air again.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that on the next pod, or we'll do that during the international break if it lasts that long.
You just got to vote for the Brewtiful Game press box.
Love it. Yep.
That's the suggestion that I want.
My only suggestion is I want to see one match in Old Trafford before they do whatever they do to it. I've been to Old Trafford, very very cool, but I've not seen a match in Old Trafford yet.
Oh yeah, you got to make that happen, dude. Yeah. I smell another trip. All right. Shall we move us on to the rest of Premier League action for Week 5 as we ask one question and or make smart-ass comments in each of our matches for our 2-minute drill. Ron, you're up first on the clock.
With Rodri ruled out for the season and no KDB in the lineup, Man City could only muster up a second draw in a row. This time away to Newcastle in a 1-1 draw. So do we think that this is going to be a regular thing for Man City?
I mean, they definitely. I said this with the Arsenal draw, right? I was like, well, you know what though? They couldn't put away a 10-man Arsenal. There are some definite like weaknesses in the armor. This team has been amazing. At some point, right? Injuries, whatever, it's going to get to you. That I think it all has to happen this first half. That's when people start coming back after Christmas and that Man City train gets rolling. It has to happen now while these key injuries are in place.
Yeah, I mean, to have somebody that's up for the Ballon d'Or that is the anchor of your midfield after the entire season is going to be a huge, huge loss. City have been pretty darn good up to now, though. They were top of the table with Kovacic playing in that spot. Once KDB is back, that's going to help. A huge signing for them that a lot of people forgot about is Gundogan's back.
Yeah,
it's a big signing for them. So after
kind of fill in the Rodri shoes,
right? So after a very tough week they had with the 2-2 against Arsenal, to go away on the road, go further up north to Newcastle, get the first goal, give up a pen, hang on the road. It's not the worst loss, but and you saw that from Arsenal, who they played the week before that. They're going to get to next, where all of the legs there was all the hey, fully into this game there after such a strenuous week before that. So we'll certainly see, but it's Man City have proved us wrong consistently for the past 4 years on any sort of downturn. So long way to go.
Look at that, right at 1 minute and 58 seconds. That's like one of the best ones we've ever done. All right, Arsenal drew as well, but this time extra time was in their favor as 2 goals, one in the 94th and the other in the 98th, propelled them to a 4-2 win over Leicester City. A win is a win? Well, yes, it is. A win is a win. I'll take that.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, nothing like some excitement to do two late goals. That was that Havertz, and who scored both those 2 late goals?
Off of corners. It was an own goal for one of them, and then Havertz, I think, for the 99.
Yeah, and Ndidi scores his own goal, and
off a corner, which they had like 15 corners, something like that.
Who originally got that though? Wasn't it originally going to go to an Arsenal player, and then it got ruled on goal?
17 corners.
17.
Yeah, it was. I was going to say, yeah. I was going to pull up the stats and look at that. I mean, it's kind of wild. If you look at the momentum, it was mostly obviously sitting on Arsenal's side, and then man, they just came out the gate all of a sudden. Leicester did, and gave Arsenal a lot of trouble. And Arsenal defensively has been very good, and they definitely struggled here. I told you guys earlier before recording the pod, I watched this right to like the 90th angry and had to go to work, and like got to work and was like, wait, what happened? This bonkers. But
is Justin's goal up there for goal of the year off of that volley that he hit for his second? I mean, that's a back hit in that. There's been 2, it was kind of what Calafiori did last week, right? With what for his second goal of the game. What's his first name? Something Justin. James Justin, old JJ. That strike was something great. And listen, Arsenal did what top of the table title contending teams did, and they got the win somehow, some way.
I think that's what I like about it. Sorry, Ron, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's all that matters. They win, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just like they did today against PSG. I noticed Ferris doesn't have that anywhere on the content. I'm a little miffed about it, but it's okay.
That just happened the day to the contest last night. Okay, it's a PSG team with who on it? You name me one person on that side right now.
There's
no Mbappe there. There's no Messi there. No Zlatan there.
That's well. It takes Zlatan out for Ferris. There's nobody else on the team now. It's all just gone.
Damn right. Brentford break a Premier League record as they become the first team to score within 1 minute of play in 3 straight matches. But they can only see out a 1-1 draw with West Ham. How crazy is that stat, though?
That's awesome.
Isn't that wild? And literally under a minute in each. And I think it was the Athletic that broke it down on kind of how they do it. Just a long ball over the top, and it's like flicked on and played. And Buemo got this one and the last one, and then Wissa got the one against Man City to kind of start this. But it makes you wonder, like, who the hell do they play next? And are they going to be able to do that again? Right. Or are teams just going to automatically start like lining up against, like, in their own goal to stop them?
Just for the first 3 minutes of the match.
They just run straight back to the goal. Just come on, you're not going to get past all 11 of us. And next up, they play Wolves.
Yeah, on the 5th of October. So this coming weekend.
I guess that's it for Brentford.
While Nick Jackson is getting better,
you have to read.
I don't have to read that.
Yes, you do.
Cole Palmer becomes the first player in Premier League history to score 4 goals in the first half of a match. A 20-minute quadruple, and of course, the Blues then go on to beat Brighton 4-2 at the Bridge. Cole Palmer, Mr. Chili. I mean, that's quite a... And Brighton is not a slouch, right?
No.
I was really thinking, like, this is going to be a tough match. One of us is going to scrape it out, 1-0, 2-1, and then the fireworks started. And
it was wild. I was flipping between a few different matches, and they were down early. They were down in the 7th minute, 1-0.
With a horrible choice by our goalkeeper. Both goals for Brighton.
Both,
were all because Sanchez's brain fell out of his head.
Yep. He should be playing for Man United.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, fair enough. But a 10-minute hat trick, and then just 10 minutes later adding the 4th. He could have had a 5th by half.
Well, he could have had 6.
Or was that the second half where he could have the other 2?
No, the first one was, those were both in the first half. The 2 I'm thinking of. One, he hit the woodwork.
Yep.
The second one, which was his actual first goal, was ruled offside.
Correct.
By the aglet on his shoelace.
Mm-hmm. Aglet. What a great word to throw out.
You're welcome.
It is wild that, look, we're only 5 games in, but Erling Haaland, I don't think anyone's surprised, at the top of the list in the Golden Boot race at 10. Cole Palmer now at 2nd with 6. Literally in one game, he leapt from like 7th or 8th or 9th spot straight up to 2nd place.
Well, he's the one that was in 2nd place last season.
Yep. He ended up in 2nd place. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and for a bit, he was challenging Mr. Haaland.
Yeah, but the difference is you're winning now, not just him scoring. Whereas that was,
Yeah.
Chelsea in 4th. Ferris, can they stay in the top 4?
I don't see why not. It's a long season. 4th is absolutely attainable for them. I mean, we go into how much they spent and all of that, but how they're playing, the goals they've scored in the past handful of games, will they be able to keep this going? They are a team that I'm sure we'll talk next week. They don't want to go into a break. They don't want to go into an international break right now. They want to keep things rolling.
Stay on the high.
Where, like, United, let's get to a break as soon as we possibly can. So it's we'll see. It's a long season. We're only 6 games in, something like that. So
what about you, Ron? Are they going to stay in the top 4?
Not for the entire season. They're going to fall out, come back. But I think they'll end in the top 6.
All right. You heard it here first. All right. Let's see. Oh, goodness me. Everton get their first win of the season, courtesy of a Dwight McNeil double, which down winless Palace at a 2-1 on the day. A winless Palace.
Ruined my 7-game parlay, you bastards.
Yeah.
I was due to be paid out over $100.
Well, that didn't take too long since our last pod, as we all wondered when would Everton actually win a game. I really thought they'd end up drawing against Crystal Palace because they're very good at that right now. Look, this could be the beginning of a mediocre, we win a couple and safely stay out of relegation. But I think that's the best they can hope for. I do not think this is a bounce that is something they're going to ride high. I think it just, maybe now they can try to fight and stay out of 18th instead of staying out of 20th.
Yep. And they may get lucky. There may just be 3 worse teams out there than them that are just, so long way to go.
It's the new ownership bump.
Yeah.
They might. But a Dwight McNeil, 2 goals within 8 minutes of each other. Just absolutely wild. Palace, on the other hand, I think that's kind of a bigger point here. Winless.
I was going to say.
How they ended last season. Didn't really make any big changes. Didn't really lose anybody too much besides the lad that went off to Bayern. They're able to hold on to their star center back who got the goal in this one. But they're a surprise, and I almost wonder when they're going to get the first win because they cannot get one.
I was going to say, I know it's only match week 5, but to see them in 18th place right now is wild.
Yeah. Way down. Fulham win again, courtesy of another Raul Jimenez goal. This time it was a pen in the 51st for a 1-0 win over Nottingham Forest. And listen, gents, don't look now, but Fulham up to 6th in the league. They're in 6th place.
Yeah, quietly crept on.
Quietly, yeah. Yeah, but they've looked real solid so far this season.
Yeah, I think they'll stay and remain competitive. They look good. There's something clicking about that crew this go round.
And sorry, Ron, and get this, their only loss to Man United on the opening day of the Premier League. Figure that out.
They are the weakness on Fulham is that they're not overly deep. So if they get a couple of key injuries, they're gonna tumble.
No Europe though, so that will help them. But to stay in 6, I'm not so sure. I think a 8th place, a solid like top 10, comfortable top 10 for them will be much enjoyed by the Craven Cottage faithful there.
It's still my favorite name for a joint, the Craven Cottage. It's just
and it's cool to see in person too. I just wish Phil and I would have gotten into it because it was very cool from the outside.
A 61st minute pen taken by Mo Salah proved to be the winner as Liverpool top Wolves and go top of the table with a 2-1 at the Molineux. So can Liverpool maintain the top spot?
That's not what Ferris wrote. He said, "Can Liverpool stay at the top spot?"
No, I did. That was a Freudian slip. that was just a typo, but yes, there you go.
Doesn't there seem maybe it's kind of what Ron said about the Leicester match with Arsenal. They just are making it happen, but they do seem weirdly. How do I want to phrase this? Toothless, and then they've got razor sharp fangs. It's very back and forth with them. I feel like in the same match, even.
Yeah, it's not as if Klopp left and all of the big players left. It's the exact same team, pretty much as last year, like the exact same. It's can they maintain that for the 38 game season, which they obviously could not do last year. They've I don't say quietly gotten up to first, but they've won when they needed to. I believe they haven't lost a game yet, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. They lost one.
Oh, they did. They lost to, that's right, Nottingham. But no draws, so 5 wins and 1 loss. I mean, Man City haven't lost yet. Arsenal haven't lost yet, but they have 2 draws. So that's kind of where that point difference is coming in. But listen, with the same team, they're going to be in every game, no matter who they play. It's whether or not they can keep hammering out those winning 3-point results every single week, coming off of Europe, coming off cup games, coming up all of this. And if they stay fit similarly as they did last year and didn't have anybody out for long periods of time, I think they can.
Please do it against Man City. Thank you very much. Oh, this is me. Liam Delap double shocks Villa as Ipswich get a point off of 5th place Aston Villa in a 2-2 draw at Portman Road. No Duran goal this time. Big points lost by Villa?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. Considering they could have been top 2 in the league with tied on points with Liverpool should they have won it, and couldn't hold on to it.
Ipswich is tough, man.
You're up against a team. Oh, sorry, Blake. You can go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, Ipswich is like tough. They're a team on near the bottom, obviously in 15th, but damn, they have proved to be very scrappy this season.
And they're a team that haven't gotten a win yet. So you see that when you're playing against, you saw what Palace did up against Everton to haven't gotten a win. It's being played at Ipswich at home. So they're going to be up for a little bit more fight. Delap, I think a Man City Academy lad.
Yeah.
They kind of caught Villa. Villa's next 4 games, the 2 before the break, they host Bayern Munich tomorrow in the Champions League. They host Man United on Sunday. Then they go away to Fulham after the break and then host Bologna in the Champions League after that.
It's not a easy schedule.
No, it's not. Bayern playing very, very well, but to host them should be fun. And then you have another kind of titan of the game, or former titan of the game, if you will. And I did coming down the early game on Sunday. The draw here, I bet you they wish they would have won that one to secure just, 2 more points where they're thinking we should have won this one.
Yeah, because they're going to have to stave off the Newcastles and the Fulhams and maybe the Tottenhams as the season goes on, right? And those 2 points would have been a solid way to help that.
Mm-hmm. And finally, yesterday, our cherries, Bournemouth, put 3 past. Oh, who the hell they put 3 past? Southampton. Thank you. Sorry. And get their second win of the season. Not a whole lot to say here, but Bournemouth, a team that's been able to hang in there and hang in the season for the past few seasons, ever since they come up, for the most part, but did what they needed to do at home on a solo game on a Monday night in Southampton, another team. When are they going to get their first win?
Southampton. Oh, they're just dreadful. Man, they are in 19th right now? Yeah.
Woefully dreadful.
4 losses in 5. They drew 1. They have -9 goal differential.
Not good.
Bye.
Yeah. I think we can call this for Southampton and the Wolves. Oh my God, the Wolves play Brentford next. There's going to be 2 goals in a minute and a half in that one.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
And that brings us to halftime, where, of course, we know during this halftime special, it's time for all the news that's fit to drink with Ron's Beer News.
Heck yeah. So I thought this was a pretty fun study that was taking place. Germany, who titans of innovation over in Europe.
I've heard of them.
There's a company that came out of the Technical University of Munich. There's a couple of students in there that were brewing enthusiasts taking brewery classes, and they noticed how wasteful the hop farming process is, right? Only roughly 20% of the hop plant is actually used for brewing any beer. The other 80% turns into waste. So these guys decided, hey, we can go to the farmers we can take that 80% waste and we're going to turn it into building materials.
That's fun.
So they created 3 processes. One, to create something akin to plywood. You know how plywood is basically a lot of different pieces glued together, patchwork style, layer on layer on layer on layer, in order to give it strength, right? Well, they did the same thing with the hop plant, and they are creating essentially plywood boards of various sizes. They are creating acoustic panels, and they are creating insulation, all from the waste of the hop plant.
So when we get picked up by like Sirius to do a podcast on the Sirius FC channel, that's our we're gonna get their acoustic hop particle board.
Yeah,
and that's gonna be in our studio. Right?
That's what I want. Will it make our studio smell like hops? That's what I want to know.
One can only hope. Like,
wouldn't that be amazing?
That'd be fantastic.
So yeah, these 3 guys launched a startup called Hopfun, which is a play on Hopfen, which is the German word for hops. And they're now selling products to the construction industry made from the waste created by the hop and brewing process. 1/3 of all the waste generated in the EU comes from construction and demolition industry. So this is a perfect sector for these guys to target.
nice.
That's rad.
That's cool.
This also, this also helps farmers save money and reduces emissions. Because when hops are harvested every autumn in Germany's Hallertau region, which is a very popular variety of hops, which also happens to be the world's largest hops growing area, 1 hour north of Oktoberfest. For every 1 kilogram of material inside of the hop cones that can be used to brew, there are 3.5 kilograms of wasted biomass from the rest of the plant. So that's where you get your 80-20%, right? Some of the hop waste can be used for fertilizers. So a portion of it can be sold for biogas to help produce energy to, run your lights and provide electricity. But the majority of it is unusable for farmers who are forced to rent additional farmland to create dump piles. So these dump piles ferment and emit greenhouse gases. So these guys are like, let's take all that.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing because I feel like Ron needed to end this new segment about dump piles because that's what the next segment is going to be about.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's called a segue play.
Yeah. So if you get the chance, go look up Hopfun, Hopfon, and see what those guys are up to.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. If I can, I'll see if I can get a couple of samples sent on over here to the good old US of A, and we'll
listen. When
check 'em out.
we're over there next year, all trains down to Munich run through Hopfun.
There you
Sounds. Do we just make our trip tax deductible because we need to go research some equipment, some acoustic panels?
Yeah.
Well, why not?
Hopefully, no one in the IRS listens to this podcast. If you do, you ain't getting much from this.
I think
group.
they got bigger fish to fry than our lonely old podcast. With a 3.5 on Apple or whatever we're rated. So
you gentlemen owe dozens of dollars.
Right. You owe dozens of cents to the IRS.
If the IRS had any sort of like humor, which they don't, they'd be like, ha ha ha, joke's on you. You have to drink every bit of butternuts known to man.
Well,
my God, we'll pay. I'd rather pay.
Yeah.
So how long is the jail sentence?
Yeah, please.
Right. I'll just take the penalty. So there you go, gentlemen. In a bit of a slow beer news week, a little bit of uplifting, saving the planet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, before we get to more poop, this beer is, I'm sure, not going to be poop. It's our second beer of the night from Appalachian Mountain Brewery, and it is called Peak Tiki. It's a hazy double IPA, tiki-inspired Indian pale ale. A fruity, slightly tart, hazy IPA inspired by tiki cocktails, citrus fruit and banana on the nose, imparted by the yeast. Thick haze and medium body, a slightly tart and mildly bitter finish. It is 7.1%. It on their Instagram back in April, they put a taste of paradise on the go. Pick up a Tiki IPA 4-pack, making a splash at the brewery and taproom tomorrow. Get ready for a drink. Get ready for a dank tropical escape anytime, anywhere.
8.5% of the old ABV. Ooh.
Wait. Was that what I said?
Well, that's what's on the can.
7.1, or is this one? Oh, you know what, though? This is the double.
Right.
Yep, you're right. So 8.5 ABV. Again, you can head over to amb.beer for all of the fun inspired and all their brewery shop recipes and all of that. Appalachian Mountain Brewery. So here we go.
That one sounds good.
It smells like paradise.
A little tiki inspired beer.
Yeah, the can art on both these cans is quite good. Very interesting to look at, yet not too loud or overwhelming.
No, their stuff always stands out whenever I go visit Western Carolina and hit up the stores for craft beer. Their art's always cool.
Good head retention, nice pour.
Yeah. Cool. And Caitlin, thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
We appreciate you for bringing these back to us.
I would never guess that that's an 8.5% beer.
Yep, that's called dangerous, my friend. That is one that, like, in the summer when I'm like laying in your pool out there on a big ass flamingo, and you're like, "Hey, can I get you another beer?" And I go, "Dealer's choice." You keep passing me like, why is Ferris falling off the flamingo so much? It's because they're 8.5 there, pal. Jeez.
A very floral finish, but like 30 seconds later.
Yes, it's good.
It's quite a long finish.
And what's the brewery again is what?
Appalachian Mountain.
Appalachian Mountain. I'm trying to remember if we ever had an Appalachian Mountain brewery beer on here before.
I don't think we did. And when I was trying to think of the brewery we went to in Boone, it was not this. So I don't know if we've ever had anything from them before.
There's so many breweries up there that it's in the best way possible. It begins to bleed together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That place is rad for their just for the amount of breweries and stuff that you can get. You know. All right. Oh, sorry. I got to get us back out of halftime. Thanks, Michael Oliver. Appreciate you blowing that whistle. Now get out of here. Now it's time to turn it over for the La Liga's Roundup. Nope, wrong one. La Liga's Roundup. As Ferris talks to us all about that beautiful win for Arsenal against PSG. Take it away, Ferris.
Okay, we're not going to be talking about that Arsenal and PSG match. And instead, we're going to talk the Madrid derby. If you didn't get a chance to watch this week, that's okay. It was at like 3:00 on a Sunday here in the States. You might be watching your American football. But listen, despite no Mbappe for Real Madrid, this Madrid derby match was still electric and fueled by wild scenes in the second half when it all kicked off with center back Eder Milito's goal to open the game in the 64th minute to make it 1-0. And that's when it really kicked off, as objects like lighters and some other things, such as a bag of feces, was thrown at goalkeeper Courtois for Thibaut Courtois for Real Madrid. He got the attention of the ref. The ref then kind of went over, talked to either to Simeone and Ancelotti. Then Simeone and some players tried to calm down this like ultra supporter group and really tried to say, "Hey, listen, be smart. We can't do this." Game was approximately suspended for about 20-ish minutes as the players were sent inside, came back out. The game eventually finished, but not before a 95th minute game-tying goal by Atletico Madrid forward Angel Correa. First, it wasn't that jubilation that you would think in the home stadium of Atletico Madrid, because it was initially called not a goal. Went to VAR. He was absolutely onside, 1-1. And then it got a little feisty there at the end as VAR once again intervened as a Marcus Llorente heavy from behind challenge on Francisco Garcia was overturned from a yellow to a red card, and the match ended 1-1 in Madrid. Well, this match was no pile of shit. Was it?
Yeah, there's no excuse for any of that behavior. There's no excuse for, throwing anything on the field. There's no excuse for racism. There's no excuse for any of that kind of BS.
No,
in the match.
And Ron, you just hit on a point there that was news kind of before this game, was this ultra group for Atletico Madrid. And they are not a officially recognized supporter group of Atletico Madrid because they are like a radical ultra group. Right. If you go on the Athletic, they have a wonderful article kind of explaining just the story of violence and emotion and charge that this radical group for Atletico Madrid have. But they had come out earlier, and basically there was a group that were going to have chants that were racially charged towards Real Madrid forward Vinicius Jr., who has been, over the past year, has been the subject in Spain of other teams' very racist chants, and that type of stuff needs to be cut out of the game. Bans can never come back. Jail time, whatever they have to do. And Spain has slowly been working to have those bans and do those things and play matches behind closed doors and all of those things. But this radical group for Frente Atletico is the ultras that kind of have marked this out, and that's what really, this small part of the stadium is what caused this match to be in a this delay. And when you're throwing things like lighters, that could danger somebody. When you throw one of those from there,
anything solid.
Oh, absolutely. Throw a bag of feces. That's just disgusting. Like that's
also just like, dude, you handled that. You gross. You just gross, man.
You thought about that way too long, because it's not a spontaneous action. Right.
Like, you brought a bag with you. You decided you had to.
I know what I'm going to do. Right.
Take one. I'll just wait for my moment. Yeah. It's,
they have enough cameras in stadiums. They can pick it out. They should just go right to bans. Right.
Well, and the hard part here, you said that, is there are a lot of images of the players and Simeone going up to the fans, but a lot of them are wearing those balaclavas that cover their entire face. So how do you know who that person is? Distinguishing marks as tattoos and that sort of thing, can certainly help. But it's these groups, they don't want to be there to support their club in a peaceful manner. They want to go there to cause some sort of disruption. Is the passion there for their own team? Absolutely. That passion is just misguided in so many ways. And there are a lot of clubs. It's not just Atletico Madrid that have these type of ultras groups.
They're going to go the way of Italy. If any violence breaks out, like, they're going to go the way of Italy, and they're going to say, great, no one's allowed to be at the matches. They're all going to be behind closed doors, and maybe you'll get to watch it on TV.
Yeah, and that hurts their club. That hurts their club, because that's game day revenue that their club can use to buy players, to better facility, sponsorships, yada yada yada, all of those things. When they're playing a lot of those games behind closed doors, that is revenue.
Yeah,
so
agreed. But if you can't guarantee a safe match day experience, right? The lawsuits are worse. Worse than the loss, know.
And it's tough. It's tough because a lot of these folks could, literally mask their way in, or not mask their way in, pretend they're one thing, and then throw on the mask, and now you can cause all this havoc and do this thing in games. But nonetheless, it is a local in-city derby game that they'll play again here towards the end of the season. But 1-1 in the Madrid derby.
Now, Ferris, hold on.
I'm sorry.
Before you move forward, I need to step back to your beers real quick, because it was gnawing at me that we hadn't had Appalachian Mountain Brewing Company on here. And I was like, but I feel like there was something. We haven't had it. We haven't had them on, but I have a target to get a certain drink of theirs on. If you guys will look at our text chat, I will send it to you right now. And Ron, you're going to go, oh, right, because they made this. And what I have sent the lads is the Bojangles hard tea. Yes, and if you're from the Carolinas, Bojangles is like, it's like, forget Popeyes, man. That sucks. Bojangles is like good Cajun spicy fried chicken with some awesome Cajun fries, and dirty rice is their big thing. But their sweet tea is the bomb. Now, look, it's diabetes in a glass, but it's delicious.
Diabetes.
And I forgot that Appalachian Brewing partnered with Bojangles fried chicken.
Right. That's right. That's where that name has come up before.
To make the
I knew it was familiar
hard
from
tea.
some reason.
Right.
Yeah. I know I'd seen the place before, but I sent you guys the website too, so you can read about it. But I just love that it's because the dude is from Carolina that started Appalachian Mountain Brewery, and he loves Bojangles, and so they partnered. It took them 2 years. They put it out last year.
Imagine we could have been like Brentford in the Premier League in 3 straight pods had Troy Aikman's beer, Hulk Hogan's beer, Bojangles beer.
Dang it!
That would have been like the trifecta of beers had we been able to pull that off.
I was trying to keep the momentum going, but this week there was a lot of business travel, and I couldn't get to the store to get the beer that I wanted to. So next time.
All good. Real quickly as we end the Liga's roundup, the Bundesliga table. They're 5 games in, and guess who's top? Oh, Bayern Munich. 1 point over Eintracht Frankfurt. RB Leipzig, Bayern Leverkusen, who have lost a game this season. Borussia Dortmund, FC Heidenheim, who, remember, they led after the first 3 weeks. They're now all the way down to 6 as they have lost 2 since then. So that's your top 6 in Germany, but Bayern really starting to catch stride here as they beat Werder Bremen 5-0 on the weekend. And Werder Bremen's down in 10th. It's not like they're dead last. They beat Holstein Kiel 6-1 the week before that. So they are on quite a streak. Yes, they drew 1-1 with Bayern Leverkusen this past week. But, that's your German Bundesliga. And pop it over to Italy real quick. It is Napoli, who have only lost 1 game this season. They're 6 games in over in Italy, and that was their first game. But they have a +7 goal positive and 13 points, 1 point above Juventus. Milan is in 3rd. That's AC Milan. Inter Milan's in 4th. Torino have moved down to 5th, and Empoli is in 6th. Italy, if you haven't watched, I know we talked about this a few pods ago. It's on Paramount Plus. CBS turned into kind of that. A lot of Americans play there, but that league is fun to watch. Some good, just top to bottom games between Fiorentina, Atalanta, Roma, Udinese, Lazio. They're all in the mix there, and you have a team called Como. But if you get a chance, certainly watch the Serie A as that league is just heating up as well, and they are 6 games in, similar to the Premier League. And then one last thing, it's not on the content, but before we move to the end of the pod, another legend of the game announced her retirement this past week. Christine Sinclair of Portland Thorns and the Canadian women's national team announced that this will be her last season at the age of, I think, 41, and she's still banging in goals and doing great, but she is absolutely a legend of the game.
Soccer's not going to look the same for the women's.
No, a lot of change.
Interesting, but we got so many great players too that have come up. So it's a cool changing of the guards right now. Ferris, is that our La Liga's roundup?
That is our La Liga's roundup.
Just making sure. All right. Well, thank you all for listening and joining us. Our beer mentions of the pod. I had from Southern Tier Brewing the Pumpkin Imperial Pumpkin Ale. And you, gentlemen, what's your Appalachian Mountain Brewings?
Appalachian Mountain Brewing's Panic Water, a hoppy Pilsner, which was quite delectable.
Absolutely. And as is the one that we are currently having, Peak Tiki Hazy Double IPA. That double adds us up to 8.5% on this beer, and it does not taste like
not
that,
at all.
Woof, it's going down smooth, though.
That sounds good, but I really want to try that Panic Water. Was that the name of the first one? Yeah, that sounds good. Make sure you follow us. Website's easy, thebrewtifulgame.com. Go check us out on Untapped. Follow us on the socials, Instagram. We're probably more active on that than anything. We still have Twitter and stuff, but nobody's chatting anymore on there. So.
On the Untaps, I just put up a from St. Arnold's Brewing in Houston, their Oktoberfest. I did a beer swap with a gent at the Pride game who has come to the Pride game whenever they play the Dash every time down here in Orlando, and always brings down tons of beer and just does a swap with everybody there. That Oktoberfest was darn good from St. Arnold's. And
St. Arnold's is a great brewery.
Yes, they are.
If you've ever been, or if you haven't been, you should. They took out an old cathedral-style church and made it a brewery and a massive, food hall and all that. And where all the stained glass is, they kept it, but they changed the story of all the stained glass. And underneath, they put artwork about the brewing process that is taking place in the stained glass from, the 1800s, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, that's rad. I love that. I'm in danger over here. There's so many small breweries that if I go out to eat anywhere, I go sit down and I'm like, I don't want a beer. I'm fine. And they're like, we have our seasonal Oktoberfest from whatever brewery I still haven't gotten to over here. I'm like, crap. I'll take that, please.
Yeah, I'm going to have that, yeah. You've heard of St. Arnold's on this pod before.
Yeah.
Because you know what I brought back? That stupid, awesomely can holder mug thing was from St. Arnold's.
The thing that would clip to your can.
I don't know who has it now. If it's up there with you, it's here with us. Yeah.
It's probably an Afton's toy box. She turned it into a phone and never stopped using it.
I think Art up there.
Yeah.
Oh, no. They're in the drawer with all the cozies.
Yep.
And we've also had St. Arnold's on the brewery when I was in Houston.
Yep.
We get around it to the point where sometimes I'm like, wait, have I done this one on the pod or not? It's getting a little difficult. That's why I've been sticking with all the Connecticut breweries lately because I'm like, I know this hasn't been on, so I'm just using this.
What was the stat? I remember I texted you guys and said, hey, it's now like 195 beers in foreign countries or something like that.
It was on
from Untapped.
It was on Untapped that you had.
We got a card that's like, from 195 regions around the planet. That's what it was. We've had a beer from 195 regions around the planet. That's pretty badass.
Wow.
This crew gets around. Ferris, before we wrap up, do you have a Zlatan quote?
Oh, I do. We're going to head back to that athletic article by Adam Crofton, and hopefully I'll be able to pronounce all the words right this time. But to help celebrate Bond Day, because Amazon Prime just has all 25 films available on Amazon Prime.
Hey, Ferris, I was going to say, Ron. Yep.
And here's what Zlatan said.
No. Including on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which you went to the place, or Ron went to the place where that was filmed. Brought you beer back from it.
You can,
you got to watch that movie. I want to talk to you
because it's on Amazon Prime now.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah, probably.
He lied. He's lied to us every single time. He's promised to watch it
every time.
All right. So anyway, in this athletic article, in his disposition and his turn of phrase, he can be reminiscent of Eric Cantona, who moved from the football pitch to the screen and the stage. And Zlatan is quoted as saying, "I'm curious about entertainment." Ibrahimovic says he suggested recently that he would make a fine James Bond villain. But he's also quoted as saying, "But I only do things I believe in. I would not do it just to promote myself for nothing."
That man.
That's very.
I think if the studio came to him,
very modest of him of all the quotes.
If the studio came to him and said, "We want you to be a Bond villain," I don't think he's turning that down.
No, he's not.
Yeah, but if he gets to, if he gets
terrible at it, but
if he gets to work on his karate and his taekwondo and all the things that he has, I don't know if you like followed him on Instagram.
Yeah,
the man is living it up in retirement. He's skiing over here. He's climbing that mountain. He's riding a bike here. He's like doing all of these things. That man is a James Bond.
He's doing that thing that I don't understand why rich people don't do. Like, he hit an age with a ton of money and said, cool, I'm going to go do this now. For the life of me, when someone's already like a multi-billionaire and they're like, I'm going to keep working until I'm 90. Like, hell no, dude. Go do something. Zlatan is like, yes, do what he's doing.
And yet he still is in Milan like every week at AC Milan games watching some of the best world football. So he's doing all of that in the summer, all that then, yet he lives in Milan and Italy and goes to the game, helps consult with them. Unbelievable.
Oh,
and if you didn't see this, and I have not watched it yet, but I want to, he was on the Hot Ones, the YouTube channel where they eat hot wings. And some of the excerpts from that have been awesome.
So that hasn't aired yet.
I think it has, but I believe they're only doing YouTube now. I don't know if it's actually on TV anymore.
Are you okay, Ferris? Because I feel like you would have watched that immediately.
I know, but I keep forgetting about it, and I just remembered it right now.
Ferris, I don't know, man. I'm pretty good at noticing when people are lying. I'm also good at noticing when they're standing. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Brewtiful Game.
Was that your dad joke?
Yeah, I tried to sneak that one in.
Yeah, no, I noticed it, kind of.
God, that's the voice from Ferris I've been missing so bad.
That one, Blake, was admittedly maybe not your best.
Yeah, but
follow us, listen, give your grandmas.
Send us dad jokes.
Send us dad jokes. More Zlatan.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the beer.
Thanks for
drive safely.
Yeah, drive safely. Thanks for listening.
Try the deal.
And not that I'm sure anybody's really able to listen, but my goodness, everybody down south, please take care of yourselves. Be safe. We love you. Here you go, gents. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.